Hello, hi, and welcome to the Little Walters Flower Farm July 2023 garden tour. We've got a lot going on. We're producing a lot of blooms right now, and we have a lot of great things looking good in the landscape. We have our front garden, which is our street side garden. I call it like cottagey vibes. Got a lot of gladiolas. A lot of them I'm just letting them bloom out, which means they get really, really tall and they tip over. But that's fine. We have some great summer berries, yarrow happening. What I think is really cool about yarrow is depending on when you cut it, it's at different colors. Some of it I need to come through and just cut out completely, like this yarrow up here. I've definitely let that one stay out here for a little too long. I use yarrow in the bouquets, but it's not a big bulk in the bouquets like Statice is. It's a few pieces here or there, so I don't cut on it as much as I cut some other stuff. I have been enjoying using a lot of feverfew in the bouquets. So I put probably like one whole stem in there. We're getting some little shoots, side shoots now, so those will be smaller. And I've been drying a lot of the feverfew, which looks very, very nice dried. Excuse me, I see a weed amongst the gatherings. Oh, jeez Louise. I got weeds all the time because birds, drop them with their feet. We've gone through in many of our areas that have Statice and really cut those down, cut out obviously usable stems, but also stems that we're going to use for drying. So now we're getting the second flush of blooms on a lot of Statice, and you'll see that back here. I nearly need to come in and fix up this terracotta yarrow that's back here. We got some nice Rudbeckia. It's interesting because this garden up here, the street side garden, has a little bit of everything that's kind of everywhere else, except for maybe zinnias and maybe some asters and comfrey. Okay, so it doesn't have everything, but it has a little bit of most of the things that are sprinkled around the landscape, because a lot of ours is raised beds, but it's also a lot of things that are put into the landscape. The little lavender back there is so cute. We do have some perennial phlox that has come out and some liatris. I've been staking up the liatris, but the bees flock to it, and so they just push it over. And I used liatris for the first time in bouquets for our bouquet clubs this weekend. I've been testing out using this perennial phlox that's back here. Interestingly enough, it changes to a really, really, really deep purple when you bring it inside in cooler temperatures. Who knew? And this right here is probably the best lavender. Out of all the lavenders that I grew, it has done the best. So I'm hoping this one will definitely come back next year, and we'll have more lavender, and I will continue to seed lavender and grow more, and trying to put in a lot of more perennial based things. The celosia here is doing quite well. I need to come through and do some cuts on these so it can get another flush of stuff, but doing well. A little splash of celosia up in this garden. And what I'm most excited about up here, look at this birdhouse gourd. I did it. Even if I only get one, I did it. There was one that was over here that I thought was going to be the first one, but it looks like, I'll push these back in here. Looks like we have this one, and there is one more over here. It's a little smaller. That's the big one, but still it worked, and the birdhouse gourd has worked its way all the way to the top. It'll probably start coming back down. Ooh, man, it is stinky leaves. Birdhouse gourd and loofah, not yummy smelling leaves. Loofah's not as stinky as birdhouse gourd, but I'm excited by this. I don't know, like I said, if I'm going to get any more. I think I do need to come in and do some fertilization, but I'm excited. Marigolds are really kicking in on the farm, so we've been using them a lot in bouquets and they look fantastic. I've also started drying a lot of them. I have mostly the giant orange right now. My whites were a fail during seeding, but I have a second round that I've just added to the garden, so we will be putting that in. We will putting that in. We'll have that probably in the fall, and the marigolds last well into the fall. They are a great crop. We have some amaranth that's kind of coming back on its big stalks in here. I'm not really too particular about it. I didn't grow much this year. I don't really care too much about it. If I get it, I get it. If I don't, I don't. We have some nice new gladiolas in here. I planted it pretty thick in this like little entrance area to where the fountain is, which I don't have on because I have it charging inside. I have a Hydra fountain from Plow and Hearth, and it charges, which is nice. So that's exciting, and I've definitely been cutting a lot of gladiolas. The eucalyptus that I have down there, it's actually got new growth on it. And the one that I grew from seed also has some new growth, but not the best. Oh, this lavender didn't do that bad. Okay. All right. I'm going to cut some of those big stems and bring them inside and dry it. Okay. I am in love with this gladiola that has started coming out. And if you follow me on social media, you know that I love this gladiola. I call it a lemonade gladiola. I also like these really deep ones too. I might end up moving a fair amount of these gladiolas out of here and into a more permanent bed, because they will perennialize, so they'll be back, or I'll just be better with my structures related to gladiolas next year to keep them straight. I did have one that was going up this trellis, and it got all the way up to here, so it was a good 6 foot gladiola. It was pretty cool. Got some more amaranth happening over here, and we have more marigolds, gladiola amongst. Ooh, gotta pick these when they are just blushing, otherwise the creatures will come and get them. Amongst tomatoes, this tomato, I don't know what's going on. I've given it more food, so I hope that it will do better, but I don't know, we got a lot of rain at one point, and I think it's just stressed. So I'm being patient with this one. We'll see what happens. But this is a black strawberry, and the black strawberry in the back is already over 6 feet tall. This one is a little stunted, so yeah, it is what it is. We have Lisianthus starting to grow. I used the first stems this week in our bouquet club. These are the Roseanne Browns that I grew, which looks like they will be coming out soon. Next year, I am definitely planning on doing so many more Lisianthus, like a full bed of them, seeing if I can grow them from seed myself. A lot of these were plugs that I got from Burpee, which are great, but I think I definitely want to do some more on my own. Another gladiola falling over. Okay, and then this is my calendula trap crop, which you can see doesn't look great because it's just been attacked by aphids. And you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. Everything on the farm has a purpose, and that one is to keep the aphids off of everything else. This is our status hedge, and the status of the status hedge is in its second flush. So it got a huge cutting. The apricot status, very wildly a pain to actually cut. The other one's a little bit better stems. But you'll see this white or silver has a lot of regrowth coming in. This is an overwintered Lisianthus. It's about 3 feet tall. It's a pink one. So possible to overwinter Lisianthus in this area. I shouldn't have put them over there if I want to overwinter them. But it is what it is. This is Sunflower Station. We got new ones just starting to bloom. I actually need to cut this one. And there's one up there. Oop, there I need to cut. And here they're just lifting off. Some of the ones that are back in this area were too far apart, so they got really, really big. I am not using that in a bouquet, so I leave those here to be out and showcase to our neighbors. People take pictures of them around our neighborhood, which is cool. It seems like this nasturtium has seen better days. I don't really know what's going on here. I'll maybe give it a little bug hut or something. I don't know. It was doing really, really well. It might have actually gotten too much rain and just didn't like that. Because we had a downpouring of rain all at once. We never get slow trickles in the summer. It's just like goosh. These are more sunflowers. They'll be up in the next few weeks. I will be putting in more sunflowers down here where these will be getting cut out. Sunflowers take a really long time. And next year I definitely want to focus on more rudbeckia over sunflowers. But they look really cool. My neighbor in particular really likes being able to look out their window and see a giant sunflower. So I've left them in particular for him because he really likes those. Zinnias are looking really, really good. My fave, the Queenie Lime Red in different tones. These are some Benary Giants, but I really love zinnias, and these are looking actually really, really good. Pest pressure has increased, times a bajillion for us. So, I don't know. July's rough when pests increase, but things are still looking good in this zinnia area, and I have 2 other successions. So, been able to use zinnias and bouquets, and that's what I really like. Oh, we have a little bee friend. They like to take naps amongst the zinnias. They also take naps sometimes in the celosia, which I've cut a lot on this celosia, so there's not a lot here right now, but I really like what I'm seeing. Oh, wow. Look at this pretty zinnia. This kind of looks like one of the lemonade gladiolas. And it's got a really weird center. Huh. Okay. You never know what you're going to get with zinnias sometimes. Like that. It's got this really pink, dusty center. Oops. Pink, dusty center. But not layered at all. Interesting. I cut back our Scabiosa. Oh, I need to come through and get these seed heads. And so now we're getting a second little smaller flush that I don't really cut on. I just kind of leave this here for the pollinators because they love Scabiosa. And I have more that I'm growing in other spots anyways. So I'm just letting this grow. And I'll cut if I need it, like little pops of joy. I'm doing some bud vases this week, so I actually might cut some of these for the bud vases since they're a little bit smaller, but I have a lot of white. That always happens to me when I have mixes. This is the area where we have put more stuff in. So a second round of marigolds. There's some celosia in here. There's some cress in here, but mostly marigolds. Some random snapdragons that I put in at some time, but this was all snapdragons, and I had to take them all out because they were just covered in thrips. So we've moved on from those to other stuff, and this bed is likely going to be our tulip bed for every season. So we will take out the soil from here every season and put it elsewhere so that we'll be able to fit all kind of 2,000 tulips in this bed, which will be convenient for us. And it's not that much soil. It's not very high. but we need to go through with hardware cloth underneath, and then we put chicken wire on top to keep the squirrels and digging things out of there, because they like to eat all of my bulbs. But you can't plant bulbs in the same place for like another 7 years, and so instead of trying to bounce them around everywhere, we're just going to go with using this bed and just constantly like moving the soil around. This bed where the asters were, it's a 4x4 bed, now has 2 types of basil, cardinal basil, which is my favorite to use in bouquets, and cinnamon basil, another fave. I also like lemon basil, but I just didn't grow it this year, and that's okay. These are the salmon giant asters. They are covered in little buggies, so I haven't been using them for bouquets, but the asters that I had in here previously, so they were Matsumoto Blue and Matsumoto or Red Stripe. Yeah, I did use those because they came on earlier in the season when we weren't so bug heavy, but they are pretty. I've just left them kind of in here with the basil just because everything is starting to flip over. So I wanted something to be here. We have this celosia that I need to cut back. That's just in the center of this pot of annual. It's a Calibrachoa. Forget what the color is. Probably is in my last video, actually. The squirrels have started to dig again, looking for and or planting nuts. So that's been an adventure. This Rudbeckia has decided that it wants to tilt over. Don't know why, but it is gorgeous and I really love it. And like I said, I'm going to focus a lot on Rudbeckia. I think this season, and Black-Eyed Susan is the state flower of Maryland, so that's pretty cool, I think. We have some straw flower back here. Straw flower has been very slow, but it's starting to produce. I have another group that I planted and seeing if I maybe will get a fall flush, but I don't know. It's just been very, very slow this year, which is okay. But I was hoping to replenish my straw flower for crafting. That may or may not happen. Yeah, every year's a new year. But the annual phlox is looking really pretty and provides a lovely little scent, and I'll likely use those this week as well for the, what do you call them? Bud faces. This is the second flush of zinnias, which you'll see amongst them are all of these little. There was compost put on top of this, and then there was Canterbury bells, and these Telinium seeds, they're strong. So it seems that last year when I had Telinium here, and it was only from here to here of Telinium, so maybe like a 2-foot bed portion, dropped a lot of seeds, and they're all over. So I have actually been pulling up some of the bigger they're like little succulents plants and moving them to spots where they can grow more fully. I don't know if I'm going to get something, but I really used those for sparkle in the fall. So maybe we'll have some nice looking stuff by the fall with Telinium amongst the zinnias, as well as the cress. This is Persian cress, which is actually not looking too bad. I need to come in and add some more wiring, or shorter wiring for supports. I like to use the wire for supporting the cress. And then up here we have our wall of cucumbers, which are starting to get attacked by squash bugs, which is fine. It's bound to happen. But these are Katrina, so I grow hybrid cucumbers, which actually helps a lot with the pests. And I have some new plants down on the end, but the two that are here right now, they're still producing and they're doing okay, but they're getting some damage on their older leaves. You know, it happens, and it's potentially time to pull those, but they keep producing, so it's hard to make those decisions. We also have a row of status up front. This is a tiered bed. I don't know that I'm going to do status on this front tier again next year. I might just do the grasses, which I have actually some of them right back here. I've been cutting a lot of these bunny tail grasses, which are so cute, and they're soft like a stuffed animal, and I love them oh so much. We'll be using those for dried flowers. I also got some peppers back in here. This trellis had peas, if you remember, in the spring. We got another flush of status coming on here. And this is also where we have Gomphrena. So one of the reasons why I did Gomphrena here, and you'll see in the back what I did with, or where I have some gladiolas, is providing shade to roots. One of the things that I definitely know is our sun is hot, and I can fry a lot of things if I'm not paying attention to that. So Gomphrena doesn't grow that tall, but it's tall enough where it does provide some nice shade for cucumber roots, which are pretty shallow, and helps retain moisture better. So I've been using Gomphrena for that up here, and it seems to be working quite well. And the Gomphrena is just now starting to stiffen up. It's a similar thing. You have to do the wiggle test. This is not ready to cut, but I use the Gomphrena for dried flower work. This one might. Oh, yeah, this one's better. So this one actually I could cut, and we could dry it. I don't really put that in fresh bouquets. And then we have another pepper that's actually growing quite well and pretty tall over here amongst the cucumbers and these annual phlox of, oh my gosh, this Rudbeckia. Look at this. It's so pretty. Oh gosh. And we're gonna enter my favorite side of our house, the south side, and see. There's another Liatris that I did stake today, and some creature probably played around with it, which happens. This is Dahlia Alley, which doesn't, these are all dahlias that came back from last year. Not a lot of them look that great right now, in the back in particular. Don't know why that is. They were pruned, so on and so forth, but I think it has to do with bugs. I'm deciding whether or not I want to continue to do dahlias. Yeah, so we'll see, but I bag the bloom heads just for better luck of making sure that the blooms don't get damaged, but we have a lot of pests that I think are really damaging the dahlias. And these are a lot earlier than the ones in the back because they thankfully didn't get damaged by the groundhog. We also have a lot more beetle action this year, which we hadn't in the past. So there's that. Blackberries. Look at these blackberries. Now I am in an epic battle with the creatures over who owns these blackberries, but I'm able to come out and in the morning and in the evening and able to harvest a handful. I did harvest already, and I might have missed one. Oh yeah, I did. Boop. Deep dark black raspberries. These are thornless. I believe it's Chester. Or is Chester the blueberries? I think these are Chester. And we already have next year's canes coming out. But we got a lot. So I'm happy to share with the creatures as long as they don't take them all. So I have to come out here morning and night. I think at night is when they take a lot of them, which, it is what it is. And then we have our loofah here, which is among strawberries, some ever-bearing strawberries. So we've been getting a few strawberries continually off of those, but my goal was this year, loofah growing on the deck. It definitely is right here, right now. We're working on length. loofah gets really, really big. Last year, it was fluffy, but I don't know that it produced this much fluffy. We get a lot of flowers, just not any fruit or little loofies that I can see, which happened last year as well. So, I don't know, but at least the vegetation is looking good. I'm very proud of these tomato buckets, planters up on the deck. They are producing very well. Ooh, I actually see one has a tomato right there. Right there. Okay. And these little deck, I didn't plant all of them. I have some basil that can go into some of the other ones, are doing very well. So I thought these were a really good idea if you're looking for some vertical garden stuff, things that go on railings, so on and so forth. I've been testing these out and I really like it. What I love is coming and walking down here and just seeing this view. I just love it. We got the Rudbeckia on the side and yarrow and hostas and mums. There's lavender amongst that. Second wave of mums coming in, but just look at all these different Rudbeckias. One seed packet, you just get so many different looking Rudbeckias. Like, that's just so cool. They look like little fireworks, and they're a perfect size to put in bouquets. There's some lavender down there. We have this little area. I have some thyme. I have some thyme. I also got the green stalk. It's looking great. It has another round of dwarf tomatoes in it. We got hanging baskets. It's my vibe. I'm loving it. These look like a fluffy little lion's mane. I love them. Love them, love them, love them. Feverfew back here. Green stalk with jade bush beans. Hasn't started producing any flowers yet, but I see them coming. So we should have beans soon. Another area of status. This is in-ground status, which is doing quite well. This is some eucalyptus. This one's doing pretty well. Oh, wait, the one back here. I actually cut off this one, and it has sprouted a lot more, and I'm drying those eucalyptus that I trimmed. So I might do it on that one. It was a test to see. Hot take, unpopular opinion, I don't really think eucalyptus smells great. And I'm not really that big of a fan, but I love the look. And you can't get you pick it and you can't get the smell off your hands, and I don't know. Anyways, really excited about the bush beans. I've started picking the breadseed poppies because they've started to, can't hear any. Some of them have started to have seeds rattling around in them, so I started picking those. Got more little grasses back here. This bed received a lot of attacks from the groundhog, so I haven't paid too much attention to it like I should have. But the poppies are doing their thing, and next year I will be growing a lot of poppies, hopefully, and we'll have some good fun with those. And this dahlia is looking pretty good. It was chomped down about 4 times. So, and this one as well. So you never know. I don't know. It's hard in the backyard. I have to be very intentional with what I put in the back gardens, because every season new creatures come and do their thing. Great hanging baskets. Super Tunia Bubblegum Vista, the best for hanging baskets. Don't fight me on it. I'm correct. These violas, still doing great. I grew these from seed. We'll be growing way many more violas next year. And if you've watched the little video I had of the leaf cutter bees, they have like 20 some cocoons in there. So cute. This is another birdhouse gourd, not doing as good as the one in the front, but it's here. And this one does have a gourd or few that I think are gonna potentially gourd. I don't know, but we'll see. And then back here, this nasturtium is doing better. It's amongst a Super Tuna Bubblegum Vista, which I think is cute. Cresspedia, Sunball, doing well, although something likes to eat the tops of the balls, so only harvest so much of those. You can see that birds and other creatures are getting in and playing around in our beds because we have lots of that going on. Little weeds. This is the longest pepper ever. This is a Carmen pepper. It's a hybrid pepper that we're growing. We also have another, or most of them are that. This one's also ginormous. Just waiting for them to change to red, which takes a little bit of time. These cucumbers are all starting to actually come back after they were basically decimated by the groundhog. It's a new tomato plant back there. I don't know how they're going to do with the new pests that we have, but I really love this trellis. It's from Gardener Supply. It's very nice. Holds up very well. Really like it. I'm just noticing that this is tipping forward. Probably because it has really heavy peppers on it. I need to support that. Okay. Not much going on back here, just some violas. This fountain gets gross because the birds are just all over it all the time. This is where I was talking about the gladiolas. They shade the tomatoes, which helps the tomatoes and their water. We got cucumber in the center of